studio came down here in 1999 and tried to knock us out the history book. It was at the end of the 20th century. Come on. They brought a movie studio down here, stole the bell out the church. You go to the caretaker, Marvin Graham caretaker, AME Zion Church, this stuff in there now.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to take you on a tour. Okay. See that thing, do you? That's our house. That's where you relieve yourself back in the days and still do. It's amazing. We had to fight for this too. Boy, we can bring it. Ooh, we know how to do that thing right there. Come on. We can start from the back.
Y'all hear him?
Now I'm gonna take y'all, take you around. Right back there on the branch one, we got steel hunt, where we got a stand. We live off the land. That church, 61 years old. And I was taught this story when I was 5 years old. Them old men used to be around here and say, you know, that's a shame. I said, how I'm gonna stop this? My daddy spanked me and I had to go right behind this church. He said, you can't read and write yet. What you talking about, you're gonna be a preacher? So I'm now gonna be a teacher.
A good point that you just brought up. So you taught this when you was 5. That means you didn't learn this out of a book. Grandma taught you this.
No, man, this is our land. We go all the way to the water. We had a mule and cart. We ain't had no tractor. We had to go out there in the woods. It's the land of Shakora. This is called NECCESSITY. This is where the Europeans first come ashore in the 1500s. There's nothing older than this place in reference to the colonials other than Alabama. In 1667, God brought category 5 hurricanes through here.
P-line is the Cape Fear River.
You
So
seen
that's
it when
the
you was
water.
coming up.
That's the water right over here.
Hold on. Back there, but it's called Town Creek. That's where you came across right there. Town Creek is Old Town Creek, Old Charleston.
Okay.
Now, this church, in the heyday, see, I'm the protector of this church. We had to even beat the AME Zion back. First we went against the slave master children, the McCrae. You ever heard of Hugh McCrae Pop?
No.
It's right there in Wilmington. Anyhow, boy, when we jump out there, we don't play with you.
You said the McCrae's are the slave master children?
They own all the land around here. And they're the one who desecrated this church. We're going to take them to the International Court of Justice. It's called the World Court. It's called genocide. They try to take and knock us out the history book. You understand me? Mm-hmm. This is the last of the Mohegans. You know what I got an open letter I'm getting ready to address to everybody. Okay, it's reference to do who is the true illegal immigrant. The 525-year-old illegal immigrant. Up from 1492. That's when Chris Columbus says, what they were going to do? They were going, if they could have got rid of this, they would have got rid of history. And then, I'm 61, Daddy's 48, and maybe 10, 15 years ago, it was what they thought it used to be. It's different between what it used to be and what is true.
So you had to go to war against the movie studio who was trying to take the property.
Listen. Hugh McCrae in the movie studio came down here and shot a movie, a pilot movie in the church called Glory, Glory. I came down here and I said, what y'all doing down here? You see that that OSB board on there? On that church? Come here. I bolted it out. Rick Mason down the South, we built these. But they didn't care nothing about our condition. In other words, we raised up with an outhouse and a pump too. And we go up on that hill and we know how to drink with the deers. I know you're going back. Hey, be still. 525 years ago. You go to the lost tribe, go to the lost tribe and they'll tell you how they came and stole the Indian women and took them to Europe. Well, we built that in the 60s now. But this is history, this is 140-something years old. And guess what? We milled the lumber down there on the milling pot. Back in the days, we was the master of carbon, it still is. But see, now they want to change the balance of power and make you, especially you young ones, make you think that y'all not from greatness. It's already in you. gotta know how to bring it out of you. And ask me how I know. See, I walk by here every day, and you see that glass out, a little stained glass? And I pick up a little piece. I pick up a little piece. See, I know what I'm picking up. Every one of them represents something. Every one of y'all was the reason why you're here. This is our ancient homeland. We got our own country. We got our own nation. You're standing on it. We're called ancient people. You historic people, because you can't, them historic people, you can't trace the history back no more than 524 years, up from 1492. We, as the people, go back here. This is our territory. All the way to the river and all the way to the creek. Mule and carts. My daddy was a real one, too. He still in us. Well, I take you back down through there, and where all our deer stands at. And see, and we being pinched. See, we got deeds on all these thousands and thousands of acres back here. Oh, you say, boy, we got to stand and fight. We're fierce fighters and we're not going down. What that means with the Cape Fear Indians, it means that the Cape Fear region is named after us. And before this region was called the Cape Fear, it was called the Fear of the Capes. Fear of those Indians at the Cape. Then we go off and study what Cape Fear means. Cape, it means where the land extends out into the open water. Fear, it means a sudden attack or an ambush. When night fell, we're all up through here. We room here. 74, 76, from the mountain all the way to the sea. See food and you eat it. Those was Indian trails. That way you just got on and come down 133? Mm-hmm. It's called the old Indian Trail. There's another on the other side of the Indian River, way before it was called the Cape Fear River. For fish is the Cape, and we the fear. But it got lost, just like the lost tribes supposedly got lost. That's why we had to jump out the history book right into the future, they say. But the truth of the matter, we've been here the whole while. We can prove it. But the burden of proof not even on us. There's only anybody can prove us wrong. How can you look at a man and say he's been here 10,000 years ago BC, and you only been here 524 years up? This year be 525 years, up from 1492. So something wrong. I tell you what, I asked Grandmama. I said, Grandmama, what's wrong? She said, boy, I'm going to go and ask the Lord. So the Lord came back. He said, you tell your grandson that I gave everybody 5 senses. Ain't nothing common about them. But if you don't use them, you will lose them. Or somebody use them for you. I said, oh, Grandmama, that makes sense. So that means we're from greatness, right? She said, yeah, son. You from greatness. So you always think like that. You act like that. With God's will, you could be like that. It's already in you. Goodness is already in us. And the truth is right here. This is where it all happened at right here. And then God brought a Category 5 hurricane through here. Many 800 people were living through here. Blacks, slaves, and Europeans. The Indians in Africa walked the Europeans straight up 74, 76, right by y'all house. Y'all stay in Hallsburg, don't you? You got Wyville. You're right on up. See food, you eat it. We had them trails a long time ago. And then when it got up in London in the 1730s, they said the Indians had blue eyes and they were speaking English. Guess where they came from? Right here. That's when, for fishes the Cape, and we were the fear, we got pushed back all up the river. And boy, we know how to take that pine tree and make a dugout or a canoe, burn it, and be minutes, 20, 30 warriors coming downstream. Each stockade all the way to E-Town. E-Town consists of some of the Cape Fear Indians. The Cape Fear Indians consists of a 50-mile radius around Wilmington.
Cape Fear runs right through E-Town.
All the way up to Lilliton. My dad would get up there. My dad said, boy, do you know you take a rock upstream, they're going to come and get there. Man, I had to clean this place up. on both sides of it. See, history don't lie. History do. I can tell a story. You find they don't know where I'm coming from because I keep my ace turned down.
9mm.
Huh? You understand what I'm saying?
38
Now, I
special.
take you right to this little path right through here. This is the way they're cording us off. And this is where you're going to see some eagles up on the post, and they say, Old Town, 1664. They're referring back to Old Charlestown. But we are the remnant of NECCESSITY, which is our ancient land. We can take them back to the Lord of Propriety with Chief Wakusa. That's right. It was a chief called Wakusa. And he's supposed to have sold 10,000 square acres of land to William Hilton. William Hilton is where the Hilton Motel. That wasn't nothing but a lie. And we never signed no treaty. This is logic. And we use logic when we think, yeah, we're still on the land that we. But I left things in the form it was done 18 years ago, because still a war crime down here. And this is a war thing. You hear me? War. It was genocide against a race of people, and y'all wasn't one of them. If they get this little piece here, they got the whole ancient land of NECCESSITY. That paper I gave you, they say it was the only Indian community known to the European was NECCESSITY, located 20 miles in Brunswick County from the mouth of the Cape Fear River. The other one, the Sea Breeze. Y'all directly related to the Mitchells and the Waves and the Freemans. Carolina Beach State Park. I went down there last year about this time and I approached the ranger. His name was Ranger Fooch. I say, you know I'm Wakusa. I'm from downstream. You know why it's called downstream, right? For fishes that way. That way you come in at the ocean. And then the Europeans say, oh, we bout to the Cape. You better get rid of them, some crazy Indians don't here. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? Why they was bringing the houses here, they was stealing all the land on the riverfront. John Dawson Street, he controlled 1,000 acres of land. Agency was all. Black guys bought 1,000 acres. And then they set the courthouse on fire and stopped on the deeds went off the record. See, these Indian trails, these are all Indian trails. This was about 1,000 of years. And as late as the 1950s, the early 1950s, as it was told to us, was Indian women still living, kept out right here. And nobody got no houses or nothing on here. That's why we threw a monkey wrench in it. It's called American Indian Claim Stakes out in Bremen. You see all these? It ain't about me. You understand me? Like Moses said, let my people go. You understand me? I ain't caring nothing about that. I want the truth to be told. Man, what I tell you? What I tell you? Men it ain't about what they write. You gotta have somebody to fight. Where the soldiers at? You see what they got? Old Town was Old Charlestown. You see that? Only they let their own little henchmen get in there. That's why I threw a monkey wrench in. They were gonna have $1 million houses back there. I know what I was doing. That's why the Lord said, I'll be your attorney. And so I already staked it out. You understand me? It say American Indian Claim State.
Old Town.
See what it say?
1664.
When the hurricane came through here, 1667. They ain't stayed up for 3 years.
Old Town. This is before Charleston, South Carolina.
After the hurricane, that's when they left here. They walked to Charleston. Some of them went on the boat. It was a Category 5 hurricane. It was God's will to let them know. Dawes Creek. That's where the Indian tribe. It was different little Indian tribes living all along here. But like you were saying, we are direct related to all the ones in this area. The Wakamo, the Cohairs. The Cohairs is right up 421, right?
Yep.
421 come all the way to the sea. You see food and you eat it. They know how to get them routes to go get some seafood. You understand me? 17 was Indian trail from Florida all the way to Canada. Ocean Indian Highway. 87, right? 87 was parallel to the Cape Fear River. We was getting ready to go along. All you gotta do is change what you are. You're your daddy's son, your mama's son. You showed out truth, right? So that's all I'm trying to say. You ain't got like that brother I battled up there. I beat him with the mouth. And he was gonna try to take this in. Try to keep my eyes
Hard time is here, and everywhere you go, times are harder than ever been before. Oh, yeah, hard time to kill and flow. You know there's people shopping from door to door, yeah. Others ain't got nothing but old hard top and kill food, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. I'm killing food. I do, well, it's been, well, they don't ever change. Desecrating men and women, decorating the babes. Time killing and earth shake to thunder, raise her flood, ocean flow. What you take out the ground, she'll burn dry and melt a hot globe. The spell of the world that burns. You say you got money, well, you better be sure. The debt we owe, we pay heaven. Lay out your body, heart, and soul. Oh, you gotta pay heaven when you get to her door.
So here's the story. I'll make it brief. The explorer Giovanni de Verranzo, he sailed to the Cape Fear River and he met the Native Americans there. The Native Americans he met there, he gave detailed descriptions on his findings. All explorers wrote about the people they met. Anywhere in the world they traveled, they sent it back to the crown. Well, the details he gave about the Cape Fear Indians was very detailed. He gave details on the type of tools they used, housing, how they look, the type of hair they have, their complexion. He even talked about one of the chiefs. His name was Watkusa. Well, Verranzo traveled from the Cape Fear on up the East Coast, and he still gave descriptions on the different natives that he met. The descriptions were a little different the further up he went. The descriptions were from where he first set foot on the soil in the Cape Fear, where I live, as tawny, brown, copper cinnamon, all these type of different complexions. And the further up he went, they were tawny, yellowish, light, and on and on. So he's seen a different complexions and different looks and different hair textures on up the coast. No one looked the same, basically. But we're going back to the Cape Fear. He was the start of the Europeans setting foot on the Cape Fear. More came, and more trouble came along with them. Fast forwarding into the future, there was a warrior nation called the Tuscarora that was inland from the Cape Fear. Well, the Europeans wanted the land that Tuscarora was on, just like they wanted the land that Cape Fear was on. But in order to remove the Tuscarora, they needed the help of the Cape Fear, they needed the help of the Waccamaw, and they needed the help of the Yamasee. They recruited the Waccamaw, they recruited the Yamasee, they recruited the Catawbas, and they recruited the PD, and they recruited some of the other smaller tribes, all to go fight the Tuscarora. Well, eventually the Tuscarora fell, and a lot of Tuscarora people were marched down to Beaufort, South Carolina. Some went to New York, but a lot stayed in North Carolina. Actually, about 45 to 60 minutes from my house is the Tuscarora Nation Reservation in Maxton. And they're still there to this day. Well, shortly after the Tuscarora War, the Europeans turned on the natives that helped them fight the Tuscarora, and that was the Yamasee War. Well, during the Yamasee War, the Waccamaw made many battles against the Europeans and came out on short end. So the remaining Waccamaw, a lot of them had to flee to the swamp, just like a lot of the Tuscaroras had to flee to the swamp. Many of the Yamasee and the Seminoles, a lot of them fled to the swamps of Florida. So the swamps were always a safe haven for us, for natives up and down the East Coast. Wherever there was swampland, it was a safe haven. We used the environment. We didn't line up to fight. We used the environment. We hid behind trees. We hid in the trees and on top of trees, in the water, underwater, wherever we can camouflage ourselves. We did not line up and march to our deaths. That was stupid. So, fast forwarding again to the future, with all of these wars taking place and all of the natives moving to the swamps, eventually the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Once natives, tribes that were enemies became friends. You're living in the swamps together. You are creating new bonds, blood bonds. That's why in North Carolina you actually find a lot of tribes with the same names and a lot of the same ancestors. You may have different tribes, and a lot of the different tribes can find a common ancestor. We're all related. What a lot of people don't know is the largest Indian population east of the Mississippi is North Carolina. It has the largest American Indian population east of the Mississippi River and the 8th largest Indian population in the United States. As noted by the 2000 census, 99,551 American Indians lived in North Carolina, making up 1.24% of the population. This total is for people identifying themselves as American Indian alone. The number is more than 130,000 when including natives in combination with other Indians who are not counted or listed as Indian, but has proven ancestry and generational Indian ancestry. There's other tribes here, and they're not a part of the 8 recognized tribes. Doesn't mean that they're not tribes. And that's when you get into the politics of who's the Indian, who's not the Indian, how Indian looks, and all these crazy things that ignores ancestry, DNA, and all of that. You can have 80% native ancestry, 10% European, and 10% African, and actually 15% European, 80% native, 5% African, and you would be classified as an African based off of your 5%, the least amount of ethnic DNA from the 3 that I just mentioned. Now, if you are 90% native and you are 10% European, you're going to be Native American. Now, all of these different rules and regulations and guidelines was not set up by Native nations. We never, ever treated blood that way. This is something that was introduced into the indigenous populations by Europeans. Europeans were really big on first, second, and third cousins. We wasn't big on my first cousin, second cousin, and third cousin. Everybody in my tribe is my cousin, regardless if you're going back to the 4th generation. We don't have different sets of family. We're all family. This is something that was common in the Native community. However, being as adaptive as we are, we adopted the ways of the Europeans. The 5 civilized tribes got the name 5 civilized tribes because they lived more like the Europeans than they did like the Indians. So they adopted a lot of these ways. Now these ways are more common today than the traditional ways of the first people that were here before the Europeans got here. So now natives fight against other natives based off of looks. People need to wake up to the programming. You watch TV programs because it programs you. Now, the colonists who were racist, were murderers, and did the things that they did, and this is not something that anyone can make up because they documented their own history. They documented what they done. They're the ones that documented all of the people that was hung by Abraham Lincoln. They documented that. We didn't write it. Now you have natives who are acting just like the colonizing fathers. See, patriots, people who believe in America and believe in the American conquest, that they conquered the West, that they conquered this great land, that they defeated the Indians. They call themselves patriots. Now you find a lot of natives who act just like patriots and call themselves patriots. They act just like the Patriots' founding fathers. They act like George Washington and his whole crew by perpetuating the genocide, not with a gun, but with your ideology, with your pen and with your paper.